We are recording. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever you're watching this. As always, I greatly appreciate you taking your time. My name is Augustus C. Foster. This is the Mantalk Monday podcast. And today I am blessed and privileged to speak with somebody who I found on social media and is engaging, invested, and pouring into his community. And I wonder when the brother sleeps because he is on all the time. Brother J.R. Rice, man, like I said in the
Hey,
pre-show, welcome, man, and thank you for
thank you.
coming on.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate this. Yeah. My name is Jay Rice. Jay Rice, name so nice. People often say it twice.
Ooh,
I, I am an English teacher. I am a spoken word artist, also a published and award-winning author.
awesome, man. Awesome. You listed the jobs as somebody who's about to marry into a Jamaican family. I know, like
Ha!
my laws and the people, they would be like, that's that brother there.
Jamaica, Jamaica.
They would be like that brother there. That's what I'm talking about. Multifaceted.
But I
But
love jerk chicken, but I don't know. I don't yeah. But in terms of marrying into the culture, yeah, we'll see. That's
but
another
man,
talk. That's another
he,
talk.
he was that's another topic. But man, so tell me, man, we were talking a little bit, man, about roots in California and Georgia,
Mm,
man. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing, growing up in the place that as a Californian, as a California native. I refer to it as the town for the
yes.
uninitiated. Oakland, California, just outside the Valley Joe, as the great poet E40 would say.
Hmm.
So yeah, man, tell me a little bit about your upbringing in the town down the street from Brother Earl
Yeah.
Stevens.
E40 was percolating. Yeah. E40 is he's also the ambassador of the Bay, but it's almost like every area has their own legends. Like you could say, like Atlanta has like Outkast and Ti and like Ludacris. Like in the Bay, we have our own legends. Like E40, Too Short. They just renamed the street near Fremont High School
Ooh,
in Deep East Oakland after Too Short's name. And so our
wow.
legends, yeah, we still look up to them. I was raised on these guys, like so. So yeah, in terms of my upbringing, I was born and raised in East Oakland, California. Um, my parents actually were born and raised in Richmond. Folks don't know about that. Richmond's right up a little bit north of Oakland. Very dense black population as well. And I also kind of played. Even though I was born and raised like full 18 years of my life in Oakland, I also kind of live a nomadic life. After I graduated from high school, I went to Cal State Long Beach, in SoCal, and I over there that was a whole new experience because I had never even seen the beach. And so, being
Mm.
like, I had an apartment almost like 10 minutes from the beach. That was a big exposure to me. I even learned how to skateboard down there. That was also the start of my kind of writing career. I was on the slam team, the poetry slam team of my college, and we were even able to go to the nationals way back, well, probably '08. Ooh, '08. I'm going. That's revealing my age.
Look, you gave the year up and like almost like rubbed your knee in your back, like, oh, it was so long ago.
Yeah, I can't even. I'm trying to even count back that far, but anyway, I was very fortunate to get a lot more exposure with the collegiate poetry slam. I was ranked one of the rookie of the year at the National Collegiate Poetry Slam in Philadelphia, and that was really big for me. But I had to, yeah, just and then I just kept moving in terms of my life. I went from Long Beach to getting my first teaching job in Salinas in like Central California, and that was another kind of big exposure. And I didn't. What I learned over there was like as rich of culture that they had out there. That was where John Steinbeck was raised.
Right.
Um, there was like nothing to do out there.
Yeah. I mean,
So I spent a lot of my time, even though I was teaching, I spent a lot of my time developing my writing and working on my novel that I had I had already finished, but I was trying to kind of make it more poppin' and make it more develop it to make it better. And then my story just continued after that. I got my first teaching job in Salinas, and also I had my first time getting fired. I got fired. Well, I wouldn't say fired. I got pink slipped, but yeah, that was a hard hit. And that was also the time my dad was first got diagnosed with cancer, prostate cancer. And so that was a really hard year. And instead of kind of facing my traumas or my issues at the time, I kind of took my savings and went to Spain. Yeah. So then I was over in Spain for about 3 months. I was studying English to teach English as a foreign language. And then while I was over in Spain, I also got a chance to backpack around Europe. And so I was very fortunate, man. This like Oakland boy was able to go to like Paris. I went to Rome. I was spent some time in Greece. I went to Amsterdam. And I'm telling all this because I actually wrote about it. I used all these experiences to develop my poetry books. And yeah, so it was really, really monumental for me. I met a lot of cool people. I got into a lot of strange situations.
Are they in the book?
Yeah.
More reasons for you all to go and purchase the book.
Yeah. And then I made my return back to California. And then I started teaching at Castro Valley High. I started still working on my novel, Broken Pencils. And then I got hit with another kind of traumatic event. Like I was with my girl at the time. We were really pretty close. And for better or worse, we split up. We were together for about 4 years. And then at the same time, my dad was still fighting cancer. And he lost his fight to prostate cancer. And then another crazy thing happened. I got laid off again.
pink slip mafia.
Yeah, man. And it's all
California education system. For those who don't know, I'm somebody who had a California education, and I know specifically, that'll be a political conversation, unions, etc. That's time for another. But I even understand as somebody who not just educated by California elementary through high school, but even from knowing countless teachers through Riverside, San Bernardino, all of the Kern County and LAUSD specifically, one of the largest school districts in the country, teachers are not just compensation, but like the mental weight and the balancing, and then but just to be able for schools as the institutions, and really not them, but at the administrative level to just go, we can make these cuts, always say is a detriment long term to the kids, because that's who loses. Like you might save that money, but I'm like, you lose a valuable asset in this teacher who's really affectionate and pouring into the kids. And as somebody who saw it, like the fact that it happened to you 2 times, I'm like, yeah, it always seemed like the teachers who kind of had a heart for it, that's the way the school went. And I've never been a fan of California doing that.
It's bad. And I don't go into my soapbox, but yeah, it's bad. We have superintendents getting paid $500,000.
Yeah.
While they're closing schools, and the weird thing is they have I don't want to get too deep into it because they cut their idea of cutting or lowering the budget is by reducing teachers. But it's like the school needs teachers. Like y'all need to allocate this budget somewhere else. Like it's like even like at a Walmart,
cut the teacher, but the class size is continuing to grow, and again, long term, and I think we see those effects long term. You see the outcomes in the students, like to call it what it is. I look at graduating classes that I had, and even people just from a junior high level, and we could talk all day and go into the school to prison pipeline, which California is great at, which, for those of you, if you ever want to take a trip up to California to see the coast and you drive up PCH and you drive up the 5, you will pass more California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation facilities than you do colleges. So that tells you kind of what Brother JR here was the uphill battle that he was
Yeah,
dealing with working in these environments and trying to pour into the kids.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll make the rest of this kind of short, but I was saying all that about all the traumas I went through, like my dad passing, and then also getting laid off again, and then also going through this really bad breakup. I just took I took that chance again to, instead of facing my traumas, I actually went to Spain again. But this time I actually went over there to teach and live for 3 years. And that was really an eye-opening experience that I was able to write about as well. And so came back, and after all that, I came back to Oakland. And where I'm at now, I teach at Rusdale Continuation School. It's a credit recovery school in Oakland. I teach a lot of at-risk youth, a lot of young people who weren't able to cut it in, I guess, the mainstream public schools. And so it's been challenging, but it's also been really, really rewarding. We graduate students in the fall and also in the spring. So I'm able, because we have an accelerated program, and so I'm able to more directly implement change in my classroom, and also more effectively change the lives of these students. Like, I can honestly say, like, I actually had I actually had a part in helping, like, probably over 50 students, more than countless number of students actually graduate.
Yeah.
And then that's really, really rewarding for me. Makes this job worthwhile in spite of the craziness. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's awesome, man. The fact that you do that work. As a side note, for anybody who's watching, all of my friends from high school, shout out all of the people who attended Renaissance Academy in Long Beach, California, which is the
All right.
same a continuation school. A lot of the brothers of mine, like homeboys from the neighborhood, who had to go there to, get credits up to make sure they graduated. Most of them now are solid, outstanding members of the community, from everything from garbage men to the city of LA. A couple who actually work at Cal State Long Beach right now, at your place of graduate. But yeah, man, love the story, man. Specifically the poetry. Like, I'll
Yeah.
two things. I'll also say I like the fact that when you had that pain, that trauma, being able to admit, like, hey, I ran, but on this second one, it wasn't a thing of running. Like, I really wanted to make a change.
Yeah.
Like, I see that, recently I'm approaching now, we're in June. I'm now approaching, actually in 3 days, it'll be 3 months from my mother passing away.
Oh, man.
And even from ovarian cancer, and even from that, like, I
Oof.
remember conversations with her over the past 3 years as her health declined, really just putting time in with her, traveling, took her to Paris, sent her
Wow.
here, went and got dinner. But even in that time, like, there were moments where, kind of how you said, like, I ran from the trauma. And on the last go, like, after she passed, I immediately went, there's some things I need to just, like, we're not going to run. Like, there's some things we need to do. And one of those things was, putting back into, speaking with people who are doing what you're doing, who are active, caring, effective, changing lives. Cause that was all of the work that she did, somebody who was really invested in faith and family and community and nonprofits and social work. So that was even one of the reasons I reached out to you, because I was like, these are the people she would want me to speak with, people who shared, like, her passions. And even for myself, doing this is cathartic, but also I was like, let's get back in school, because she was like, you could finish school. And I was like, yeah. I mean, I'm not at Cal State Long Beach because, dear God, California, Cal State system, that's them student loans. Nah. Um, I can't,
Yeah, you're right.
I can't. I don't want to be a 49er that bad. I don't want to be a 49er
Oh,
that
good.
bad. But yeah, man, from the poetry standpoint, man, that writing, where does that come from? Like, did it come out of just the life experience? A lot of writers come from a place of pain, or even of love or loss or gain. Did yours come from there, or was this just something like you kind of inherited? Do you have a family history of people who are just, we write?
I think that's a good question. I think it's a combination of a little bit of all of that. More so, my drive to write, well, originally it came from me trying to process what I was going through. Um, um, I lived a blessed life. I complain about my life, or it might seem like I am coming off like I'm not grateful, but I lived a very blessed life. But when I was 13, I lost my best friend, an older best friend, from a car accident, and that experience was like really just like a gut punch, like just a hit in the face. I didn't know what to do, and so that was the time I actually wrote my first poem, and it was called like "Why," and I just had a open journal, and I just started asking all these questions like, why, God? Why are we supposed to die? Why do we cry? Why? I just started going off, and I wrote like a 2-page poem, and it felt really like you used the word cathartic. It was a release for me, and I still kept that poem. I even revised it. And so what I used writing as my way of just processing my emotions, whether good or bad. And then eventually I started getting more into storytelling and hearing other people's stories and trying to share more light on their stories through my own narratives. So a lot of my work, especially, like, for example, my novel, I included a lot of characters based on real people in my life and people who passed away. And so I tried to honor them by sharing their story within my own work. And so my writing comes from just me processing my emotions, my love for storytelling. And also I do come from a very, I guess, artistic family. My uncle, he's a jazz musician. He plays the saxophone, trumpet. He's like a Miles Davis. My cousin, she's super crazy smart. She got a PhD in astrophysics. And she's also, she's crazy smart.
Whew. Yeah, that is the epitome of crazy smart. Like,
yeah. And it's funny, when we were younger, we would always be competing because she's the oldest of the young ones. But she beat me. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of just I guess I'm the only fictional writer, the poet in the family. But artistic expression does run in my blood. And yeah, hopefully in future generations as well.
that's awesome, man. So tell me a little bit about the idea and the concepts. Skip that. Tell me a little bit about Jonah Tarver.
Jonah Tarver. Yeah. So Jonah Tarver, for those who don't know, he's my protagonist in my book, Broken Pencils. The book is actually called Broken Pencils because if you take a pencil, if you take a pencil, right? I had to find one, and you break it, usually it's pointless. So the main character, his name is Jonah Tarver. He's a young black teen from Oakland, and he believes that all lives are like broken pencils. He believes that life is pointless. So on the night of his senior prom, and also the anniversary of his best friend's death, he's trying to discover his point in life. So it's a book that follows this young black teen's journey at his prom while he goes through all this drama with his friends. It's a pretty wild journey. It starts with him being on senior prom, but it goes a lot more left as things progress. What's crazy about the book, you're following Jonah Tarver on the night of his senior prom, and each chapter is about an hour in the night. So you're following him almost in real time. And so it is somewhat semi-autobiographical. My character, he deals with bipolar disorder. and that's something I also struggle with, but I've been able to manage it. When I was younger, I was like a roller coaster, just super crazy with emotions, and so I wanted to capture that through my character Jonah Tarver, and also just show like I'm seeing this with my own students. I deal with a lot of brown and black students. Like a lot of these kids, like they deal with depression. They're dealing with mania. They're dealing with different kind of just mental disorders, and they don't. And I see them in real time struggling to process with their emotions. And so, with my character Jonah Tarver, I wanted to, even though he's fictional, I wanted to show what it's like to be a black teen. Trying to process your own mental disorder and trying to and still trying to like come off stable in the world.
Like I like one of the things that you said that I don't like that I really love was even how you, and even in wording it, because it's in seeing them in a literal sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the fact that not just in a literal sense, I'm sure because you're dealing with these young people and working with them every day, you don't just see them in a literal sense, you see them in a figurative sense. Because I think at times specifically in, to talk it, just specifically to black and brown, like I work as a mental health advocate and with all these agencies and other things, the person I'm about to marry is a full-on counselor. So she will always tell me, I'm not your counselor, I'm not your therapist, go get one, which I'm like thankful for that, because I don't want to do that every day. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that even there's like moments where a lot of times those young men are specifically already in a position where they're at continuation school for whatever reasons there are outside of whatever their environmental reason are that they're there.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're able to see them literally and figuratively, I think a lot of there are a lot of us that go unseen. Even the prior reference to the school to prison pipeline, I think there are a lot of young men who are black and brown who, if somebody just sat down with them and acknowledged them from a standpoint of, hey, I do see you, I acknowledge you, I see the work you're doing, you can improve. But even from the standpoint of just diagnoses, from misdiagnoses to accurate
Mm-hmm.
diagnoses, like having someone there who's had the lived experience is like really a blessing for them. So even for you and like your day to day, how did you, from the standpoint of how did you grow to manage the bipolar? And now when you work with these youth, what are some of the things that you do, even when you see certain things, to make sure that they are seen and acknowledged and they do what I think I tell a lot of men to do with their sons, like they are affirmed?
Wow. This hasn't been easy. When, like I was saying earlier, when I was younger, especially in my teens, I was a roller coaster. I even I did do acts of self-harm when I was younger, and even though I regret that, like I understand now, like that was my way of trying to escape the pain. I was trying to have some kind of control over it. But I've grown a lot, talking to a lot of professionals, I do take medication, and I do have a therapist who has saved my life. She has, what I also really, really recommend with people, especially those who, because I talk to my students, I'm like, hey, maybe you should get a therapist. Maybe you should talk to a counselor.
Right.
Like, nah, man, I don't need no counselor. I don't believe in therapy. I don't believe in
It's
therapy.
like, it's like, but therapy believes in you, young man. Therapy believes in you.
I was like, they say that so much. I don't know where they get that from. But I'm like, but what's cool about my therapist, she just give me some basic tools, just self-care, just like, hey, just be outside more, be more present, do more active listening. A lot of times we get so much caught up in our heads that we don't open ourselves to just listen to other people and empathize with other people. Yeah. So anyway, so she's given me a lot of tools to manage my own mental disorder. So just having combinations of like therapy, talking to people, having a good close circle.
Right.
It's really good that, like, a lot of times we feel like we're so alone, especially when we're in our lows, that depression or that grief or whatever. And so we often like push away the people we love. And so that was another fault of mine that I didn't even realize that my therapist had to bring up or just help me realize. And so instead of pushing away the people we love, we what we need to do is just pull them closer. And so having a good close circle, like whether that, like, my mom's my best friend, got my brother, got my partner, she's like my best friend. I got really good colleagues at my school. I have also having another thing. So having a close circle and having community.
That.
Yeah, it used to be when I was younger, my community was my church or my mom's church. And then as I grew older, I just stopped going to church. And then, so I didn't, and then, so my community now is my poetry community, my author community. I'm in a community with you. And so, yeah, I have a community at my school. So I think just for anybody, like, these are tools you could use to help your own self-care, having a close circle, speaking to people, being actively outside and having a community. All those things help me be who I am now. And then mainly my passion. Like, I feel like everybody has to have some kind of passion. My passion is just storytelling, writing, just performing, just connecting with people. So if your passion is driving a school bus, just do it.
Be the best driver. Be the best driver.
Yeah.
No, that was one of the things my grandfather, when we were smaller, my grandfather would say that he would. Now in hindsight, I look back and some of my cousins who took different routes. He would always say, "Listen, but I don't care what y'all do, just be the best at it." And like as we got in our teens and he passed away, I was like, I don't think he meant that literally. Like if you were gonna go and do bad things, he wasn't like, let me maximize the criminal. Like, no, he didn't want you to be a maximum criminal. Like he wanted you to like take advantage of opportunity. But no, man, I love the fact that you said even the community, because like that's one of the things that, and even like I said, how I reached out to you, I saw it and I was like, this is somebody who like I'd like to connect with, that people need to hear. Because I think oftentimes we skip that community amongst ourselves. Like I think we fake community well. People talk, oh, I go to, how the young brothers in your class, I don't need no therapist, but you'll go in the barber shop and everyone knows, it's not, it's now, it's cliche, but I'm like, oh, it's so accurate. You could hear a Muslim, a Christian, an atheist, a bisexual person, trans person, young, old, everything in between come in and have a conversation that's civil. Of course, they'll get loud, but nobody will get indignant or disrespectful. It's like that, like how do we extend that outside? And I'm like, there are a lot of people who they lack that community outside of really the barbershop and the church. So I like the fact that you said, hey, look, man, establishing it here, specifically with this being like Men's Mental Health Month. It's like, yo, that community is an integral part of you and like mental health success. Like my mother passed and put me in a spot where I was like, I don't want to hear from anybody. And I did that for 2 days. And I had a number of people who reached out who, you talk with and this, and even like right now realizing I was like, oh, this is like part of my community. Like these people who I grew up with, these homeboys, not just blood relatives, but people who I've considered family for years. And I'm like, they really allowed me to like, not as the young people will appreciate this, crash out. But they put me in a spot where I was like, man, like that was really helpful. And I think, yeah, that having that community, man, is huge. So when you have community, you have that engagement. These kids tell me about when do you sleep? Because it doesn't seem like it via social media. And then tell me about the like I see a lot of like the live readings and the live events. What made you decide to be like, I'm not just gonna I'm not just going to author these books. I'm not just going to tell this like semi-biographical story and generate these characters. What can you click to say, I really want to do this on a stage too? Like, because a lot of people would be like, I'm not even going to read my own book. Like, I've been to book signings where somebody just sits there, they do the head nod, they sign, they do the photo, and it's gone. But like, you're like active in your work. What made you decide I also want to platform the platform, if you will?
Yeah. So, your first question, I don't sleep. I'm a
There we
vampire.
go. There we go. I knew it.
Oh,
I knew it.
I sleep, man. I sleep just like everybody else. I'm a human. I do need to work on that. I get about 6 hours sleep.
Oh, you're doing great.
Yeah. But my biggest struggle is just, and I think probably you as well, is just work life balance.
Right.
Even now, I'm juggling being working as a teacher. I'm juggling trying to write my next novel. I'm juggling performing. I'm juggling doing social media. I'm juggling all these different things. I even had a oh man, who are these people? Uh, um, this author magazine. They reviewed my book, and they were also following me online. And they gave me a critique of my book. It was good and everything. But anyway, they also started critiquing my career, and they said I should try to prioritize what I want the most, because if I do what I'm doing, I'm just going to be a jack of all trades. That's what they said, and I was like, "F you!" Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like
But
what
then
if I want to be a jack of all trades? What if I
I
want to be a
don't.
Swiss? What if I want to be a Swiss Army knife?
I don't know. So to your next question, like, why did I want to get on the stage? Like, I've always even my first talent show was in middle school, and I did a freestyle to Nas's song, "I Made You Look."
You're giving the age up. If nobody knew the age because black doesn't crack, they know
Yeah,
the age now.
yeah, I was
You
really
you
into Nas, and
you
so I always wanted to be a rapper. And my favorite rappers were like Jay-Z and Nas, and I wanted to be like Jay-Z. And yeah, I always admire these people, so I always wanted to be on a stage. I didn't like cursing too much, and I'm not about like bang bang shoot 'em up.
yeah
I had sex with her and her. I wasn't all
yeah
about that life, so I veered towards poetry. Um, and I was a nerd in high school, even though I was on the track team. Like, I spent a lot of my time in the libraries. I was reading a lot of comic books. I was reading a lot of Langston Hughes.
same,
I was
same note too, bro.
I was writing.
Football jock on the chess and the speech team sitting up watching like, hey, you guys see that new Ghost in the Shell? And people were like, that's so nerdy, but at the same time, like some of like the anime girls were like,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued, do you have my curiosity?
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Dragon Ball Z and Sailor
Man,
Moon. Like,
man, listen, it was like, hey, I'll be your tuxedo mask, baby. I'll be your tuxedo mask.
But yeah, so anyway, I took all these things. Like, I always like wanted to be on a stage. And a little part of me still wants to be famous, even though I don't want to have like paparazzi people around me.
Right.
But and so I remember in college, like, I would go to these book readings because it was part of just being an English major. They do it as an assignment. And I see these people reading from their book, and it was just so boring. And I was like, man, this is horrible. And they had like packed rooms, and people were like nodding and stuff. I was like, this is horrible. And I was like, why can't I do this? And so I wanted to be like that, and also just have that honor and esteem. And so I did it. Initially, I wanted to do it just to get some clout, just to have people like me. What changed is like I I put a lot of myself in my performances, even when I'm reading from my book. And I even had somebody say like, hey, you perform like as if like the ancestors took over you. And so when I read, I really get into character. When I do my poetry, I really get into the character of whoever's narrating it or whatever. And what I learned from it is that I'm really able to connect to the audience more. I get a lot of people at the end of my show or my set. They come up to me like, hey, I felt that. I connected with that. What I really try to do, and I want to encourage anybody who sees this, like when you perform, really dig on the emotion. The emotion is what's going to connect you with the audience. So whether you're performing something that's funny or it's sad or it's angry or it's inspirational, like really just kind of dive into that emotion. And that's how you really connect to the audience. Because regardless, they might not remember any of your words or any of your lines. They might not even remember anything you're talking about, but they will remember that feeling.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like we said before, like some people, and even you saying that, I'm like, I was right. Because I said, I was like, everything about you says this isn't somebody who you're doing it, lackadaisically. You're not going out there to do it. There's like a real purpose. There's a real drive. And the fact that you want people to leave there, even if be like, I didn't understand anything that dude said, but my gosh, like it resonated with me. It stuck with me like that. That is awesome, man. So, man, I'll start wrapping it up, man. Just tell me what's going on like the right now, because school is out. School is out. It's the summer.
You didn't have to tell me. Yeah.
Yeah, like man, I have listen, as you probably see the small picture back there, that's some of them. I have 5 kids. I'm a father of 5. My 4 older children live in California. I fly back and forth to see them, and then my youngest is here with me and my fiance in Georgia. So even the school is out, but like the second school was out, it was like a text from like my ex-wife who was like, "Hey man, hey brother, you know what time it is?" I'm like, it is that season. So with school out like that, giving you more time, like tell me, what are you doing now? What's upcoming? Where can people find you, not just on social media, but like live? Because I think even from what you just said, the feeling, the sense of like that presence, that passion, like you see, it's one thing to see it online, but like where can people go to see you live?
Yeah. So in terms of projects, I'm working on my third book. So what I'm doing now is creating a series of books following Jonah Tarver. So Broken Pencils is the first one in the series. And then I have a poetry collection that I'm going to come out soon. It's called I Was, I Am, I Will Be. And so this is also following Jonah Tarver, but in his 20s, and he's backpacking around Europe, trying to find his purpose in Europe as a Black American. And at the moment, I'm working on my third novel. It's the third installment following Jonah Tarver. It's called, I don't know if I should say it yet, but it's a work in progress. Well, I'll say it, but nobody steal this from me.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't be stealing. Don't we know? Folks still look up and it'll be like J.K. Rowling is like, hey, here is this, and you're like, no, yeah, no, fam, don't.
Yeah,
keep
I'm also I'm also doing an audiobook. So folks been hitting me up like, man, I don't read. When's the audiobook coming out? Yo, something. I know this is a whole nother thing, but what's funny, I'm learning is like I try to sell books to folks, especially my homies. And they just flat out tell me I don't read. But they do listen to audiobooks.
Which is like, and the interesting thing was randomly. So I'm like, because I'm a reader, like I took a trip to Ireland. I stopped in the store grab this. It was the next trip me and my mother were planning. So I was like, I'm gonna still go in her honor. So
Yeah.
grab this from a random store in Minnesota, grab this today at Barnes and Nobles. But you know, like we were all readers. So even when I was in the Barnes and Noble today, to your point, I see another young brother, and I'm in there talking to him. Hey man, you know, randomly, we're both in the manga section. Hey man, this and that. We're talking. I was like, so you know, where do you? He said, man, I'm not really like a reader. He was like, you know, I prefer to listen. And then, you know, I always know whenever black people double words, that's emphasis. I was like, oh, so you don't read because you're not a reader. And I was, you know, which I was like, so so you're in here. He was like, you know, some of the anime and the comics. And I told him, I said, brother, I was like, you do podcasts? Oh man, I love podcasts. I said, you watch YouTube? Yeah. I was like, you got an Audible subscription? No. I was like, yes, I would go get an Audible subscription if I was you. I was like, all you could just run through. I was like, go get Blinkist. It's like $80 a year. He was like, what's that? Showed him on the phone. I'm like, you could short the book. I said, but it'll make you want to come back in here and buy it. But yeah, man, like to your point, like there's a lot of the homies ain't reading. They will podcast it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey man, if I could listen while I'm driving, it's good. But like, I'm not about to sit. Like, you want me to sit down and read The Art of War? No, thank you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not reading Langston Hughes. But like, now if you give it to me, you give me Langston Hughes with like Wendell Pierce's voice.
Yeah.
I will sign me up for it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm working on the audiobook. I wanted to come out hopefully soon. So yeah.
Soon.
And in terms of gigs, I'm pretty active. I've been very blessed, man. If you would have saw me 2 years ago, I was like desperately knocking on people's doors for gigs. But I've been very fortunate lately. I have a gig almost every weekend, almost every other weekend. Yeah, I'm very blessed, man. At the end of this month, I'm doing a author talk on June 26th at the South San Francisco Public Library. And then also at the end of this month, June 27th, I'm going to be hosting and facilitating a open mic / panel discussion on men's mental health. And the main question is going to be, how do we use creative expression to cope with our mental health?
Where specifically, because again, it is Men's Mental Health Month, and because a lot of my audience are men who look like us, who don't find the importance or at times lack the resources to find something like that, where would they be able to find that event specifically? Where will it be located? How could they purchase tickets, Eventbrite, etc.?
So what's crazy is you do need the RSVP, but both of these events are free. A lot of the events that a lot of events lately have been free, and that's because I work with a lot of community-based organizations. So like the city, the library, that last event I was talking about, the open mic / panel discussion, that's through this nonprofit organization called Soul Space in Berkeley. Yeah, they also have a organization up in Sacramento. So if you want to check out any of this information or find the links or whatnot, you can visit my website at www.jrrice.com.
Awesome. And then if people want to follow your everyday hustle and alleged 6 to 7 hours of sleep, where could they find you on social media, man? All of them, because I follow all 3 to 4. So you've got to now provide all 3 to 4. This is gonna be a task because I just saw the website. I'm like, hold on, do I need to grab one of these phones and run them down?
No. So just a side note, I did the extra platform thing. Somebody told me like, yo, you should just have a page for your book. And then somebody else told me you should have an event page because you got like hella events popping. Smart. And so I created 2 separate IG pages for my events and then also my book. What they didn't tell me was like, it's hella time consuming. Cross posting. Oh man, something that take me 5 minutes ends up taking me 20. I'm like, oh God. But anyway, that's a whole nother deal. Y'all can check me out on I'm Jay Rice. I'm Jay Rice on IG. Also, I'm on Facebook and Twitter. My other page would be for my book, Broken Pencils. It would be Broken Pencils JR. Broken Pencils JR. And then if you want to check out my event page, it's J Rice Events.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, look, man, I look forward, man, to continuing conversations, man, and growing the community. You might see me pull up, man, to that event. And that's
Really?
gonna be in that's
Oh,
gonna be
cool.
in yeah, that's gonna be in. I mean, I get to
In
California
Berkeley.
regularly anyways.
One's going to
That'll
be
be
in
up in Berkeley.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I might have to pull up out there, man, just to go see
Cool.
the Hellas, just so I can. Yeah, I got a cousin who
All
lives
right.
up there, just so I can be able to hear people say hella again. I've been in Georgia too long. I don't get hella often. But no, man, again, brother, I appreciate your time, man. I'm excited to continue to follow the work that you do because you are somebody who's truly invested in not just like I see your passion and I feel your passion and your purpose through it. And I know with that is putting you in a position where everybody who you're around, you're really looking to get the best out of them so that long term, like their outcomes are great. So man, I'm super excited to continue to follow. And yeah, man, I'm going to pull up to one of these events, man, because I wanna be able to see it live. Because it's one thing on the internet, and for everybody who's listening, you've got to go see this live, man, because it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
I greatly appreciate it, man. Thank you all for watching, Brother JR. Thank you again, man. I'm gonna stay in touch. You're gonna see, man, we'll exchange information, and I kept my California number. So
Okay.
thank y'all for watching, man. Y'all have a good one, Brother JR. Thank you, brother. Peace.
All right.